Hey, this is Dan at Studio Blue. This is Pilates All Levels. Only thing that you can possibly need today is a mini ball. If you don't have one of these, you can use a throw pillow or any kind of bedroom pillow would work as well. If you don't have any of that stuff, don't worry. You do not need it. If anything doesn't feel good in your body, please don't push through any kind of bad pain. And with all that said, we're going to start hands and knees. Just make sure your ball is somewhere close by. Good. So hands are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. And then just hold here and take a couple breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And feel free to walk through the camera, you're good. Yeah, you go, that's all good. It's real. And then as you exhale, round your spine, drop your chin, lift up through your stomach a little bit. Widen your upper back, and then as you inhale, open the chest, slide the shoulder blades down, start to extend your spine. Good. So keep going with this, right? So just gently rounding up, let the pelvis move, let your shoulder blades move, drop your chin to your chest. And then as you open again, let pelvis move, spine move, shoulder blades drop down, eyes can look slightly forward. Hello. And again, round. Good. So next time you round, stay rounded here. Head's gonna be pretty heavy. Shoulder blades are wide, but still out of the ears. And start to move your pelvis first. So let the tailbone start to lift up. So you're articulating through your lower back, middle back, upper back. Shoulders glide down, eyes come forward. And then again, start with your pelvis first. So curl the tail and really articulate through the pelvis, low back, middle back, upper back, head. So keep going like this, starting with the pelvis for now. And it's so important that our vertebra and our spine and all of our joints can move independently of one another. So it's a fairly kind of simple, easy way to start to find that articulation. Next time you round, hold, and then start with the head. This one usually feels a little harder, right? Harder on the brain, I think. So eyes come forward, chest starts to drop. So we're extending upper back, middle back, lower back, pelvis. And then again, start with the head. So chin drops, round through your upper spine, and articulate. Yeah. And just one more like that. So starting with the head. Good. And then find a place that's in the middle of both of those extremes. Feet together, knees open, press the hips back to child's pose. Offload your arms and wrists for a moment. Let the head be heavy. You could always use a ball or a pillow under your head on this if you want more neck support. And take a couple full breaths. And as you breathe in, breathe down into your stomach. So big inhale. Let the hip muscles relax as best you can. And big exhale. Good. And on your next breath out, slowly start to roll yourself up. Make your way onto your back. Good. All right. So have your ball, right? Got a ball, cool. All the way down we go. Ball is in between the knees or a pillow, anything that you might have. Feet are heavy, right? Give your prop a little squeeze. Feel your inner thighs. And then as you exhale, curl your tailbone and slowly articulate up. So kind of same thing you were doing on hands and knees. Now you're just in a bridge, articulating through the hips, low back, middle back. And as the hips lift, feel the back of the glutes. Inhale at the top, exhale, roll down. So as you roll down, really think of widening through your upper back, middle back, and lower back. So finding more surface area of your spine on the floor. Good. A couple more like this. Curling the tail, articulating up. Again, just that same bone by bone. Hold at the top, knees, hips, shoulders, one nice long line. And again, just bring it on down, nice and slow. And if holding something in between your knees starts to cramp out your hamstrings, you can always take the prop away and maybe take your feet a little bit wider. Last one like this, curl and roll. Feel some weight in the back of the shoulders, back of the arm bones, and hold. So I want you to have the sense of the heels pulling a little bit to your shoulders, and then your feet pushing straight down. So hamstrings, glutes, everything's on. And as you inhale, let your left hip drop like halfway towards the floor. Find some rotation. Exhale, lift back up. And then inhale, right hip about halfway or so to the floor. And then lift back up. So again, inhaling to drop. Rotate, exhale, press back through center. And again, drop, rotate, and press. Take one more each side, inhaling down, exhaling up. Last one, inhaling down, and to that right side, exhaling up, hold. Big inhale, maybe the hips lift a little higher so the hips are opening. And then take your arms to the sky, and as you exhale, roll down and reach your arms overhead. Let the pelvis open to neutral. Hands together behind the head, elbows a little bit to the sky so you can see them in your peripheral vision. Nod the chin. Give your prop a squeeze. Exhale, curl the head and the chest up. And then as you inhale, lower down, right? So there's still this articulation as we roll. Middle back, shoulders, head. Nodding the chin, lifting head, shoulders. And right into that upper middle back. And again, lowering down. Big inhale on the way down. Little squeeze, big exhale. To curl. Nice. Couple more like this. We will have some new ab stuff today. New for me, maybe you've done it with Audra. We were playing around yesterday, so some new, I know. She's the queen of abs. So we're sharing the torture notes. So next time you come up, stay lifted. Again, if you have a prop, give it a little squeeze, right? Try to keep your glutes pretty relaxed. Exhale, scoop the tail under slightly. So it's going to be a pretty small motion, but I don't want you to feel like your lower abs are meeting your middle and your upper abs. Keep the head heavy, inhale, pelvis to neutral. And again, exhale, find that scoop. Feel like your elbows were still lifting a little bit upwards, so your shoulder blades are wide. Inhale, neutral. And again, exhale, find that deep scoop. Inhale, release to neutral. One more. And then release the neutral, lower the head and the chest down to the ground. All right, maintain that neutral pelvis. Exhale, nod the chin, curl up, reach the arms forward at the top. So the reach of your arms should help lift you off your shoulder blades if you're feeling a little tight in your upper back. On your next breath out, slowly bring the hands to the head, right? The slower you go, the wider you go, the harder it is. And then inhale, lower the chest. And again, exhale, curl on up. Keep exhaling while you reach the arms forward. All right, chest is open, take an inhale. Exhale slowly, right? Arms go wide. They reach back, support the head, slowly lower on your next breath. So the abs are still working as you go down. Now, if you want to advance, walk your feet towards you, imprint the lower spine, float the legs up to tabletop, curl the head and the chest, reach the arms as you curl. Right? Take a breath. Right? Slowly on your exhale, hands come back. Take a breath. Slowly lower only the chest, the shoulders, and the head. If you have a prop, give it a little squeeze. Exhale, curl up, reach the arms. Yep, collarbones open. Take a breath at the top. On your next exhale, hands reach around. Support the head. On your next breath, lower it down. One more like this. Curl up, reach. Right, take a breath and pause. Exhale, slowly sweep back and around. Take a breath. And then slowly lower the chest, the head, and then hug the knees into the body. If you have a prop, take it off to the side. Rock the hips a little bit from side to side. And then take the feet to the floor one at a time. So feet about hand distance apart, arms relaxed by the side. As you exhale, we're going to curl and roll the hips back up into a bridge. Again, just go slow. Really try to find that articulation through your spine. All right, find the top of your bridge. Glutes are on. Weight into the right leg. Can you float your left leg or heel tabletop? And just hold here for a moment. So make sure if you touch the back of your right glutes, you feel some tone there. Try to relax your toes on your standing leg. Feel weight through the heel. First ball of the foot, last ball of the foot. And then lower left leg down. Put some weight into it. Good. And then when you're ready, set your stomach, set your glutes. Opposite leg lifts. Yeah, and just hold here for a moment. And then lower. Stay with this, or right leg heavy to the ground. And then point your left foot. This one will be a little different. So your left toes are on the ground. My heel is lifted. So hopefully you can see this on the camera. And I'm going to hinge down through my hips about halfway to the floor. We did a little bit of this last week. And then exhale, push through your right leg. So my left leg's still supporting me a little bit, but I inhale, hinge down. My hips are square. And as you press up, I want you to feel a good amount of that right glute, right? Center of the glutes helping to lift you back up. Now, if you want to advance, your left leg can come tabletop. It's the same movement. Just make sure you're not shearing through your lower back to lift, but you're finding your hip extension, right? And this can also be done with, right, a prop under the left foot if you want a little bit more height. Right, so there's lots of ways to kind of change this up. But do we feel our glutes on that right side? Oh, yeah. Okay. Next time you lift, pause. All right, maybe, right, the leg is tabletop. If you had some support, we're still just holding. If it was already tabletop, cool, just hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, foot to the ground, roll down, right, and then switch sides. Okay. As you exhale, curl, roll back up. Pause at the top. Weight into your left foot, left leg. Yeah, maybe the right toes are pointed, right? So big toe on the ground. We hinge through both hips. But you're really working through the back of this left side as we lift, exhaling up, hinging evenly down. Right now, you can have a prop under the right foot. Right leg can be tabletop. So lots of things to play around here with, right? But just finding that hinging motion, essentially that single leg motion in the left side. Last 3, 2. On the last one, stay lifted, both feet heavy to the floor. Take an inhale. Exhale, roll down slowly, nice and slow. Good. And then one leg at a time, tabletop. Lower back is a little imprinted. So tail heavy, ribs heavy, lower back long. Now you can take your left hand onto your right thigh or grab your prop and place the ball or the prop, whatever it is, to your right thigh. Hopefully I said right side. Right thigh, can't talk today. So prop on right thigh, left hand on the prop, right hand behind the head. It's the most confusing part of it. Lift the head and the chest, pause. So holding here, feel the shoulder blades widen. Take an inhale. Exhale, gently push into your prop and see if you can feel your abs. Inhale, relax a little. You might even lower down a little bit. And then exhale, curl up, push into that prop a little bit. So keep going with this. And if both legs up feels like it's getting into the wrong muscles, your left foot can always be on the ground for more support. Right? Or if just your abs are super, super tired, right, left leg can come down. So you're going to start to add a small twist to the right, towards the leg that has the prop. Inhale to center, and then exhale, small twist. Yeah. And you're imagining that this left side of the rib cage is wrapping around to the right hip. Inhale, center. Last 2, exhale, twist. Yep, inhale, center, good. Last 1, exhale, twist, hold, take a breath, and then lower everything down. Nice. So just rest for a second. The legs can come back up. So if both legs are up, right, our prop or hand is on left leg, left thigh. Left hand behind the head. Curl up to start. Yeah, and just add a little bit of pressure into your hand. Inhale, relax back a little. And then exhale, push. Find that little bit of a curl. And again, right, that right leg can always be on the ground. Inhale down a little, exhale. Curl. And then start to add that small twist. So as you curl up, rotating to your left, inhale, center. Right? And if you're working with the ball, you might even feel that ball kind of push a little bit to your left as you twist. And then it comes back to center on your thigh as you lower, about halfway. Exhale up. Inhale down. Couple more like this. Exhale, twist. Inhale down. Keep breathing. Down. Last one. Hold. Take an extra breath at the top. And then lower everything down. Nice job. If you had a prop, take it off to the side. Hug the knees into the body. Grab the back of your thighs. Relax your feet. As you exhale, nod your chin. Push the thighs into the hands. Roll yourself up. Right? I'm going to switch directions. So, hello. All right. So, a couple of things here. So, you're somewhere kind of towards the top of your mat. If you have a prop, you can place it in between your knees. It's just going to give you a little bit more stability through your back and through your hips, right? Or no prop, no problem. It can be off to the side. So you can start with your feet flexed, hands behind the thighs, and you're just going to lift up pretty tall to start. Shoulders roll back and out of the ears. And then as you exhale, curl your tailbone. So let your pelvis roll back, let your lower back round, and take your weight kind of back of your sit bones. Yeah, and then hold there. Just make sure your feet are still on the ground so you feel that contact. Yeah. Again, if you have a prop, squeeze it. One arm at a time can come forward. And I want you to feel some work down the center of your stomach and kind of at the base and the sides of your ribs. And then just take one hand at a time back to your thighs, right? So set your stomach, set your thighs if you have a prop, one arm at a time, forward, so you should feel your core, and then one hand at a time to the back of the thighs. So stay here, or arms come forward one at a time, right? Now they stay here, and as you exhale, right, lightly brace your abs, bring one hand behind your head, right? Maybe the other, and then one arm at a time forward, right? Oh, it's hard, I know it. So one hand, and it good, then the other, forward, forward. So it's kind of like the Macarena, or Macarena. It should not be this hard. Do we feel it? Okay. So this can also be one hand back, that same hand goes forward, and then other hand back. So that's just going to offload you a little bit, right? It just decreases the weight slightly. So try one more each side, or two more both arms, and then stretch forward. Feet together, butterfly the knees open for a moment. So if you have a prop, let it come off to the side. Nice. Everyone felt that? Okay. Okay, good. That was the Audra one. I know. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. So those of you at home, I know everyone's taken Audra's class. If you haven't in a while, she has some new stuff, which is kind of fun. So just take another breath. Restack sit tall. And again, find that spot. So again, if you have a prop, use it in between the knees. Your feet are going to stay nice and heavy. Hands behind the thighs. As you exhale, we're going to curl the tail and we're going to roll down, right? About a quarter of the way. So the pelvis has moved, the spine is rounding. Take an inhale there. Exhale, round forward. Restack, sit tall. And then again, curl the tail, let your pelvis start to move first. So the pelvis is rolling away from the thighs. Now maybe continue to come down. Your arms can help you come all the way down to the ground. Inhale, lift the head and the chest. Exhale, roll up, and your arms, right, can help. Wide elbows, arms can help you roll up. Maybe arms go forward, curl, roll down. Maybe they stay forward. Now, if you know like a pad underneath your back feels nice on this, or a band around your legs or weights in your hands feel nice on this, go ahead and use any variation that helps, right? Also long legs, if that feels better, go for it. But see if you can still find that same articulation that we've been working with the whole hour. And, right, do you feel your abdominals? Sweet. And deep hip flexors are working too. So on the way down, right, they're opening. And on the way up, right, after your ribs start to curl up, as the pelvis rolls onto your thigh bones, those deep hip muscles have to work to help you up. Last one. Yep. Any variation. Hello, core. Last one on the up. Good. And then again, take your prop off to the side, butterfly the knees open for a moment, and fold forward. And heels as close to your body as it feels comfortable on the hips. If they get real close and you notice yourself kind of rocking off to one side, only bring them so far that you feel fairly even. just nice heavy head. You might even give your feet a little massage while you're here. Good. And then restack, sitting tall. We're gonna come onto our side, any side you would like, just facing me. And we're gonna be on our forearm. So knees are forward, heels are in line with our sit bones. Forearms down, right? Top hand underneath the ribs and just lift up a bit. So push into your forearm, feel your lats, back side of the shoulder, top of the shoulder, and then take that top arm to the sky. Maybe lift the hips, your knees will stay down, your feet will stay down. And as your bottom thigh pushes downward into the ground, can you feel that bottom glute, that outer glute muscle? So now it's not just the shoulder doing the work, right? It's everything along this whole side of the body. And then let everything lower. Reset your shoulder, right? All that means is make sure it's not forward and up in your ear. You feel some muscles, right? Smaller muscles turning on, we lift the hips. Yep. Waistline's in. And lower. So one more like this. Lift. Yep. Hold. Keep holding. Now, if you want to add on, your bottom arm stays still. Think of lifting the hips a little bit. This top arm is going to reach under my armpit. So my upper spine is going to round a little bit. My shoulder blades are widening. And then I come back to center. Right? And same thing, right? The hips are going to think of lifting a little bit. I'm rotating under, and you want to feel this along the whole left side of the body. So starting to get into the obliques a little bit more. You can always drop the hips in between each of these, or just say, hey, this isn't my thing today. That's cool. Good, one more. Finding some of that rotation, deep shoulder work. Find your center, and then lower the hips, and then lower the entire body down to the ground. Your bottom arm can be long. Good. Head can be rested, and then allow the top hip to lengthen down towards your feet a little bit. Flex the feet. Lift the top knee up and open and pause. So real quick, just make sure the hips haven't rolled back. This top heel is pushing downward a bit, right, into your bottom foot. And if you fan your fingers back, you should feel that the whole back side of this top glute is on. Inhale, take it down. And then exhale, lift. Yep. And there's a sense of lift through the bottom waist and the lower ribs. You can have a pillow under your head, anything that feels good here. Now, if you tend to be a rib popper, right, and at this point I know you guys know who you are. It tends to be me. So I always have to think of a little bit more awareness through the front of my body, not necessarily gripping, just a sense of awareness and opening through my back. If you tend to be someone that likes to round a little bit more, right, upper back might be a little rounded or middle back, I want you to think of finding some length, right? So finding your back extensors a little bit more. And if you can get your body in a really good neutral place, your muscles are gonna work more efficiently, right? Which means we don't have to do as many of these. So last one, lower, and then lift the top thigh, knee, and foot. And on this one, the foot can be a little bit relaxed. So once the leg is lifted, push it back a little bit in space, right? The knee is still forward of the hip, but we're just pushing back slightly. And then as you exhale, rotate your thigh in, right? So it's gonna look like, right, the foot is rotating to the sky, or not just look like, that's happening. Rotate back to center, right? And as you rotate it, make sure the knee doesn't drop down, but you're maintaining that hip height. And now you wanna feel this a little bit more on the side of your butt, right? Now, if you wanted more support on this, you could have a ball in between or underneath this top knee, or a couple pillows or something like that. Everyone feeling this? Okay. So this is just getting, right, internal rotators. Super important for our joint health. Couple more. And then find that internal rotation pause, right? And this is gonna be fairly small. So I want you to think you're gonna exhale and reach up and back to a high diagonal. So think of your foot kind of over that bottom back edge of your mat without overarching your spine. Bend back to where you started. And again, right, I'm internally rotating. Oh yeah, I can see people's faces here, we're feeling it. So hopefully those of you at home, you feel this as well. And this should be really deep in the side of the hip. Yeah. These are all progressions. Always feel free to walk it back or stay with the progression. Yep. Last one. Slow and controlled. And then bring everything in. Rub out the side of the hip. Nicely done. Both hands behind the head. Good. And then that top arm is going to lift, and we're going to rotate the head, the top shoulder, and the ribs, the upper ribs back in space. The hips are going to stay pretty still. If you needed more support for your SI joints or your lower back, place a pillow in between the knees and the feet. As you exhale, use your core to bring you back through center. Yeah. Kurt, do you want to block in between your knees? Does that feel okay? Yeah, just see if that feels, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Just see if that gives you a little more space. Yeah. Nice, so keep going with this one. Yeah, and just things to notice, right? If you notice that your the bottom ribs that are on the ground start to arc up a ton, see if you can soften them down. And then also notice, is your lower back trying to arc a ton? And try to keep it fairly neutral, or a sense of the tailbone lengthening, right? The upper back sometimes can get really stiff and can find a million ways to not want to move, right? So arcing, extending the back. So really just find that movement through the upper spine. Yeah, should feel pretty nice. Good, last one. And then on this last one, just hold in your rotation. Breathing in through the nose, into the outer ribs, back of the ribs, and out through the mouth. And then on your next breath out, bring everything back to center. Yeah, and then again, your top arm can lengthen, head can be heavy, top leg reaches out. So the top leg is in line with your whole body. The leg is hip height, but your foot is going to relax. You might have to actually shake it a couple times. We're really used to like pointing or flexing. So foot just goes kind of limp. Waistline's in, hand on the top hip, and we're just going to lift up a couple inches above hip height. And then we're just going to drop down so the big toe almost touches the floor. And then again, lifting right into the side of the glutes and lowering. Yep. Lifting and lowering, staying pretty parallel on this today. Yeah. Good. Picturing the inner hip and inner thigh opening as we lift. Side of the glutes working. Last one like this. Find that small lift and pause. And then top arm might come in front for support, or it can stay on the hip, right, if you want less support. We're going to sweep the leg a little forward in space. Right? Try not to tuck the tail, really sink into the hip. And then start to sweep the leg back in space. And then as you go back, go behind your pelvis just a little bit. Allow the hip to open. Center of the glutes will kick in a bit. And then again, sweep forward. And part of the challenge on this is staying just above your hip height and keeping it slow. So these outer hip muscles are still on, hopefully quite a bit. Yeah. Yep, core is stabilizing, front, side, back of it. Make sure the hip isn't hiking as you come forward. Make sure the back isn't over arcing as you go back. Good, last one. Ending to the back. And then again, find your center and just roll out or massage out the side of your hip. Nice, come all the way up, switch sides. So we're starting on our forearm on that opposite side, still facing me. Knees forward, feet back in line with the hips. Top arm underneath the ribs, right? Push into that bottom forearm, lift up through the ribs a bit so you feel, right, this whole under waistline is engaged. And then you can press down into your knees and your feet lift, right? And then do you feel your outer glutes working, right? So there's your abduction. This is just more of a closed chain version of it. Top arm can always go up to the sky. Slowly take the hips down. And then again, slowly lift up. Yep. And slowly take them down. Make a pre-setting before you lift. Shoulder blades, armpit area, lower waistline, hip line. Good. Lift. Lower. So adding on, stay with this, or adding some more motion, we lift the hips. Think of the hips lifting a little bit, top arm, right? The hand is just gonna reach a bit under the armpit. So the upper spine is rounding a little bit. Your shoulder blades are still wide. Inhale back to center, pushing through the arm. And again, find a bit of that rotation. You should feel this quite a bit on the side of your waist, back to center. And then again, find a little bit of that upper back mobility, center. And again, twist, center. How are we feeling our side waist? Oh yeah. Lovely, lovely. One more. Good. Reaching. Find your center, lower the hips, and then take everything down to the ground. Your bottom arm can be long or bent, top hand to the top hip. Make sure you're not rolled back in space. Everything's nice and stacked. You have some length. Flex the feet on this one, lift the top knee to start, and pause. So again, take that top heel and push it downward a bit. And if you fan your hand back, right, do you feel your glute turn on, right? Yeah, so your feet are connected. Lower the top knee. And then lift the top knee. Yeah, and then Nancy, if it feels, does it feel okay to keep the heels together?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there you go. And the other one's not wrong, it's just different. No, no worries. Yeah. So just make sure, right, you're feeling that whole backside of the glutes. Yep. Good. And this can be done with your top foot on a ball, right? If you want a little bit more support. And you might even use up the heel kind of drifts a little forward in space, and that's fine. Good. Last two. Last one. So let that leg lower down, lift the top thigh, knee, foot, pause. Foot fairly relaxed on this. Take that top leg, reach it backwards just a little bit in space, and then rotate the thigh in and then back to center. And as you rotate in, just make sure, right, the knee doesn't drop down, but you're staying around hip height. Right, find the sides of the glutes. Inhaling center. Exhaling to twist. Center. Twist. Yeah, we'll just keep breathing with this. And this, you know, from an outsider's point of view, probably doesn't look like we're doing much. But oh, we know different than that. It should feel like quite a bit of work in these small little hip rotators. Now, if you want to add on, find a bit of that internal rotation, and you're going to think of reaching a little bit behind you and up slightly. So your foot is about over the top back area of your mat, and then bend back in to where you started. So you still have a little bit of that internal rotation, and again, reach. Ooh, and bend back in. And reach. So a little bit of extension, rotation, and a little bit of a lift. Good. Inhaling in. Last two. And last one. And bring everything down, just kind of rub out the side of the hip a little bit. Both hands behind the head, and then we'll come back into more glute work. So top elbow can come up to the sky, we'll rotate back. Now, again, if you have a pillow under your head, awesome, you can use it. The top arm might just have to come forward. Rotate back, keep the lower waistline in, a sense of the tail lengthening down, and slowly use your core to rotate you back to center. And again, top elbow, start to rotate head, ribs back in space. So really finding that upper spine movement. Let the head go with you. Rotate back through space. Yep. Yep. Next time you rotate back, hold that twist and breathe into it. So really picture breathing side to side into the rib cage. Into the back side of the ribs. One more breath. And then rotate back to center. Top arm can go long again, or if you had a pillow, you can use that. And then this top leg reaches out. It's in line with the rest of the body, about hip height. And the foot, right? You might have to shake it out a couple times. Really try to relax the foot. Good. A little bit of waistline, some length in the hip. Keeping the foot relaxed, you're going to lift up just a couple inches above hip height. Feel the side of the glute. Inhale, lower down. And again, exhale, lift. Right? Picture that movement of the thigh bone in the hip joint rather than the hip hiking to find the leg lift, right? Thigh bone's moving in the hip joint. Pelvis is staying still. And you might have a side that feels tighter than the other. So on that side, like this side is my really tight side, I have to think of relaxing a little bit. And I really just start to picture kind of where the thigh bone meets the pelvis, and that's where I'm trying to move from. Right? I'm trying to keep my foot relaxed. Right? If you don't feel this, let me know. At this point, hopefully we feel a lot of glutes. Last 3. Last 2. On the last one, keep a little bit of that lift. Start to sweep the leg forward, right? Only so far that the hip doesn't hike, the pelvis doesn't tuck, and then start to sweep back in space. Keep the front of the waistline in. Let the front of the hip open, and then again, sweep forward. Try to maintain that height and sweep back. And again, forward. Maybe finding a little more range and back. Last 2, forward. Back. Good. Last one, forward. End to the back. And bend in and just kind of massage that out. Nice job. All right, we're simply gonna flip onto our stomach. All right. So have your arms more of a goalpost. So elbows in line with shoulders, about 90 degrees, palms facing down. Legs as wide as you need them for your lower back to feel pretty comfortable. Pubic bone heavy, tummy lifts, right? Shoulders are starting forward, right? So they have somewhere to go. So we start to lift the head. Shoulder blades start to peel down and in, float up to about the base of your ribs. Hold for a couple breaths. Keep your low floating ribs, right? There's a sense of lift. Low tummy, there's a sense of lift. And then take it all down. And again, float the head and the chest up. Right? Hold and breathe. And lower everything down. One more like this. Float head and chest up. Shoulder blades react, right? They start to draw in and down slightly. Hold, stay right here. Try to keep your knees still pretty relaxed to the ground. Feel the weight of your pubic bone. Feel the lift of your stomach. And then as you exhale, maybe float your elbows off the ground. Maybe float the elbows and the hands. So you're gonna feel your spinal muscles, right? All of them having to do a little bit more work, especially your upper and your middle. Keep the belly drawing in to support it. Keep some glute work on to help support the back. And then lower everything down. Keep the hands on the ground. Inhale, peel up. Hold, right? Doesn't have to be super high. And then as you exhale, set your stomach, glutes, back muscles. Hold here. Arms have lifted. Long through the neck. As you breathe in, let that inhale maybe give you a little bit more upper back extension. Exhale, take it all down. One more like this, arms heavy. Inhale, float up, right? Set everything. Exhale, arms can float up. Pause. Stay with what we were just doing, or if you want to add on, gently draw the elbows in towards your body. Shoulder blades squeeze slightly in and down. See if you can find those lower shoulder blade muscles. Exhale back to a goalpost or maybe a little beyond. And then again, elbows come in towards the body, shoulder blades come in and down, collarbones open. And then as you exhale, maybe back to goalpost or a little bit more forward. More forward is going to definitely challenge your back muscles, right? So upper middle, your core muscles. Last one. Good. And to the goalpost, lower everything down to the ground. Hands under the head, bend the knees, windshield wiper the feet. Right? So find that rotation in the hips, the pelvis, the thigh bones. You got it. Nice. So just let the hips and the spinal muscles relax for a moment. Good. And then come back to center. Arms are going to come behind you to add on. Palms are away from your mat on the floor, and they're facing down. So your shoulders are going to start a little bit forward. Set your stomach. As you inhale, float the head and the chest up. Roll the collarbones open. So feel right upper spine, middle spine. Maybe lift the arms. And just about hip height or so. Then maybe lift the legs. So as the legs lift, feel the centers of the glutes. Hips are opening, front of the chest is opening. And we're just one nice long line. The whole back side of the body's on. Exhale everything down. Set the stomach, start to peel the head and the chest up. Once the chest starts to come up, that's your cue to lift the arms and the legs. Again, just all add-ons, right? We can always peel back to any version that we did earlier. Everything down. Good. And just one more, right? Whatever one you're working with, peel it up. Maybe the limbs lift, hold and breathe. Still keeping that connection at the front of the rib line. We're breathing. And everything down. Push back, child's pose. Feet together, knees can open, or maybe they're together for more of a spine stretch. Right? Open will be a little bit more of a hip stretch mixed in with your spine stretch. Couple breaths. And then rise up, hands and knees, walk to the top edge of the mat. Maybe hands on the floor in front of you if you don't want to be on a really squishy surface for your wrists. And then the knees are going to walk back slightly and the hips will come down a bit. So I'm in this low plank, right? So my shoulder blades are wide. There's this sense of really pressing down into the arms, right? So there's work under the armpit and behind the shoulder blade. Kind of the same thing you were feeling when we were on our forearms. Now my waistline's in. I'm thinking of drawing my tailbone down a little bit and giving my glutes a little squeeze. Adding on, your toes can tuck. You can lift into full plank or front support. I always like to look at my feet and just make sure they're kind of doing the same thing. One isn't like overly rolled out or rolled in. And you feel weight across, right, the first toes and some stretch back through the heel. So we're not just hanging on our toes, but we're really centered on the ankle. Keep lifting through your waistline and then try to pull your hands and feet together. So you're not going to see anything happen, but you should feel this kind of tremble throughout the whole body. Keep holding that, right? I'm trembling too. You just probably can't see it on camera. Good. And then gently come down, push back, child's pose. Maybe the arms walk behind you, palms turn up, shoulders spill forward. Take a big breath and let it out. Rise back up, hands and knees, top edge of the mat. So coming back to that low plank, waistline in, or full plank. Again, there's a sense of the tail dropping down and a sense of the heart pulling a little forward. So not overly rounding the upper back, not overly arcing the lower back. Eyes slightly forward. Now, if you want to add on feet and thighs together, give those inner thighs a little squeeze, and then right foot just walks to the outside of the mat. Come to center, and then left foot walks to the outside of the mat. Center, switch, center, switch. So whatever leg isn't moving, the front of that thigh, back of the glutes have to do some work here. Really rooting through the arms. Find your arm muscles, find your chest muscles. One more to the left. Good, and then down dog or child's pose. Right, down dog, hips are lifting, knees can bend a little bit, shoulders widening. Take a big inhale wherever you're at. Exhale, let it out. And then come back down onto the knees. Make your way onto your forearms. So elbows under shoulders, knees under hips. Good. Hug the inner elbows in. Push down through your hands. Let your head be heavy, and then take your left leg, reach it up and back, and pause. Good. Up and back and pause. Keep breathing. Slowly lower that leg down and in, and then slowly reach back and up. Down and in, back and up. Good. Down and in, back and up. Good. We should be feeling our glutes, and not only the moving leg, but the leg that's on the ground. That whole outer hip complex has to turn on to help keep you from swaying out to the side. Lower ribs are still in, so this is still core work. Side to side of the core, front to back, classically known as your powerhouse. One more. Reach back and up, pause. All right, let the head be fairly relaxed. Stay strong in your arms. And then take a small circle, down a little, out a little, up, in, down a little, out a little, up and in. Now as the leg is circling, nothing else in the body gets to move. All right, you can always come up onto the hands to offload the shoulders and the neck. Hamstrings are going to get involved in this as well. Reverse the next time you're at the bottom. So in, up, out, and down. In, up, out, and down. Last two. Last one. Hold at the top. Right, relax the jaw. Lower down. Right? You can take a classic child's pose or keep the hips over the knees. Walk your arms slightly forward and let your head drop to the floor. So this is going to give you more of a stretch into your armpits, the front of your chest, and you'll probably feel a little bit of extension or work through your upper back, right? If this doesn't feel so hot today, just come back into that regular kind of classic child's pose. Now, if you're in this position with me, press into your hands a little bit and imagine the heel of your hand could push slightly down and forward and feel the shoulder blades drop back and widen. And then come back onto forearms, elbows under shoulders, hands together or apart. Narrow the knees if they opened. Left leg stays still, right leg backing up and pause. Right? Checking in that we're square. We're not swayed. We bend down and in. Reach back and up. Yeah, down and in. Back and up. Yeah, just relaxing the heads a little bit so the angle of the head is going down slightly. It's following that upper back. Lower ribs and waistline are in. This is still core work. And then do we feel our glutes? Yeah. Good. Inner elbows, they're hugging in. Forearms are pushing down. And we're breathing. Next time you lift, let's pause. Keep the legs straight, foot softly pointed. We're going to come down a little, out, up, in. Find that full circular motion without moving the pelvis, the ribs, the head. Everything else stays pretty still. Can you still feel that work in your upper body? The core and the legs. Last one. Good. Once you hit the bottom, circle back in, up, out, and down. Rooting through that bottom leg so you feel the stability in your outer hip. Deep hip, deep thigh. Last 4 from here. 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. Take an extra breath. And then lower that leg down, right? And again, if you want a little bit more of a chest stretch, armpit stretch, you can take your arms forward a bit. Hips will, for the most part, stay over the knees. The chest and the head drop to the floor, right? More of a child's pose. Just drop those hips back and rest. Wherever you're at, take a big breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then rise up, and you have 2 options. You can come onto the back for figure 4, or you can stay on hands and knees and come into pigeon. So if we're coming into pigeon, top edge of the mat, hands and knees. My right knee comes towards my right hand. I kick the foot out to the edge of my mat, and I send my left leg back. Hips pretty square, and I can stay fairly high on this if that feels okay. I can come onto my forearms. I'm just trying to keep my hips pretty square, right? And then if you're in figure 4, right ankle over left thigh, flex the foot, hug the shin or thigh in towards you. And as the left leg's hugging in, feel the right leg reaching a little forward. So the goal is opening up some of those outer hip muscles that we worked today. Yeah, and just wherever you're at, hold and breathe into the belly on this one. Feels nice. Now, if you're in figure 4, you can rock your hips a little from side to side. And if you rock off to one side and you're like, oh, that feels really good in my hips, hold it, right? If you're in pigeon, right, maybe walk the arms over to one side, right? Just be gentle. Right, maybe walk them a little bit over to the other side and just find a place where you feel a different stretch. Yep. Nice. And then wherever you're at, find your center, switch sides. And if one side feels pretty different than the other, right, don't force it. Right, you can think of your hips as they're not necessarily identical twins, kind of more fraternal. They're not necessarily going to be the same. Shoulders are easy. Yep. And we're just breathing. Yeah, maybe coming down if you're in pigeon onto the arms. Yeah. If you're in figure 4, you can add that little rock from side to side. And again, if you find a place where you're like, oh, that feels good, stay there, right? Pigeon, maybe walking the arms over to one side. Feeling a different stretch, right? Not an ache, not a pinch. Maybe walking the arms over to the other side. Good. Find your way back to center. You can press up through cat stretch. Taking cat stretch, tucking the toes, pressing through up stretch or down dog, bending the knees a little bit, lifting the hips pretty high. Pedaling out the feet, so one heel drops, opposite knee bends. Shoulders wide and out of the ears. And then just start to pedal the feet and the hands together, right? Forward fold. Bend the knees a good amount. Hang heavy. Maybe take your hands behind the head and let your elbows drop forward. So we're not pulling on the head, but you're just using the weight of the arms to traction the neck and the entire spine. Let the arms come to the floor. Take a big inhale. Exhale, root through the feet. Roll up. Allow your head to come up last. Take the shoulders up into the ears. Exhale them together, down and back. And again, up, together, down and back. And then reverse. Collarbones open, shoulder blades together, up, forward. One more like that. And then just shake out the arms a little bit. Shake out the legs a little. And then just stand nice and tall, close your eyes. And take a couple deep breaths. And you'll notice, right, this kind of gentle, natural swaying of the body. It could be a little forward and back, side to side. And you start to find a place where you feel pretty even on your feet. So not more weight necessarily forward or back or side to side or in and out. And then take one final deep breath in through your nose and out through an open mouth. I'll end you there today. Nicely done. If you have any questions, let me know.